recognized symbol of excellence in sports entertainment.
What's up, you pencil neck geeks? Welcome to the WrestleFetish Podcast, where we work the jaw just for you. This is your boy, the Doctor speaking. With me, as always, the Doctor, Tyler Limco. What's up, man? Looking fresh.
Thank you. You know, the sun is shining. The birds are fucking best day ever.
Absolutely, they are. They are. Speaking of, well, see, that's just rude. I was going to say speaking of fucking, but, I mean, what are we going to say? She's hot. Eddie fucking Cruz, what's up, love?
Good. What is up, guys?
Hanging in there as always, enjoying the view here from Inglewood, California. Speaking of not fucking, and not even looking at the camera, what's up, my friend? Jabroni, Josh Martin, what's up?
Oh, hey guys. You know, I'm having one of the best days ever. And you know, life is good.
What changed?
I've been sliding into random people's DMs.
Oh,
You know, sending those nub pics.
yeah.
The old
I mean, sometimes you gotta go full force, like
You know, sometimes you gotta send those thumbtack pics, if you know what I
that's
mean.
right. That's right. Have any of you guys ever done the naked man or naked woman in your case, Annie, where you're trying to hook up with somebody, they go into another room, and you just take off all your clothes, and you just basically just throw a Hail Mary. So when they come back in, you're just standing there completely butt-ass naked.
Yes, I do that, but no one ever comes into my room.
So you're just like, you doing it to yourself?
I do it and I just wait, hoping someone walks in, and it never happens.
He's a believer in better safe than sorry, you know?
True.
Just
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want someone
You
to come
never
in
know.
and I'm not doing that. That's a wasted opportunity. I mean, you don't get many opportunities. You have to try to take advantage of every single one.
Speaking of which, boy, oh boy, did the guest that we have today take advantage of an opportunity this week on AEW Dynamite. Woo! We got a special one for you today, guys. But before we get into that, because we don't do fucking full week of wrestling reviews anymore, unless you subscribe to our Patreon, patreon.com/WrestleFetish. We will just quickly get into our highlights of the week. But you can hear the full thing on our Patreon if you want to hear us review the week in wrestling. Tyler, what was your highlight of the week?
My highlight of the week has got to be, you know, I talk a lot of shit about WWE's commentators. I think they're awful and they really ruin the show.
And they really do.
I really like Corey Graves and Samoa Joe. I think the two of them are good at what they do. And I will give them my flowers this week.
I like that. Did you happen to catch any of AEW Elevation and see the Big Show's commentary?
Oh, how was he? I missed that.
He was good. He was good. I mean, and I don't know why I'd be surprised by that. I mean, he has years and years of experience, and he's always been a good talker, a charismatic guy. The opposite of that, who's not a good talker, a charismatic guy. Josh, what were your highlights of the week, bro? What was your highlight of the week?
I really liked that Lashley Sheamus match on Monday Night Raw. It was a solid. Sheamus has been having really good matches the last 3 weeks.
He really,
it was really fucking enjoyable of a match, and it's like, and they helped. It didn't hurt Lashley. Lashley looked strong as ever, and looked like, but there's still a path to possibly taking Lashley down, which I liked.
It's just, I know WWE logic, and you lose, like, even if you look great and put on great matches, if you lose every week, you're a jobber.
Yeah. They haven't mastered the put people over in a loss thing, which is something that they, kind of made famous. I mean, Stone Cold Steve Austin got the most famous from a loss. That was how he turned face and became the face of the company, But yeah, like I said, we'll get into the detailed conversation on the Patreon episode. What was your highlight of the week, Andy?
I'm gonna go with the obvious one here, and that would be the main event of AEW last night, which coincidentally stars our guest that we're having today, Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker. Man, there was something about that match. I mean, how many times have we discussed the women's division specifically with AEW, right?
Yeah.
And watching that, and I watched that match 3 times, and the first time I watched it, the very ending, and this doesn't happen often for him. Not a very emotional person. Some people call me a cold bitch, if you will. And that ending just gave me fucking goosebumps, man. Like, I don't know what it was. I felt very emotional with the ending of that match. And I was just like, holy shit, man. Finally, we got something that seems like a positive direction of where they're going as far as the women's division goes. And that is my highlight for this week.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. A lot of highlighting of the women's division this week in AEW. Jade Cargill had a squash match. A lot of stuff on AEW Elevation this week, including Josh's new favorite wrestler, Maki Ito, the cutest wrestler in the world, according to her. And I find it hard to disagree. I mean, she comes to the ring singing her own theme song, for Christ's sakes. And I don't really understand Japanese idol culture or many things about Japan in general, but I'm in. I'm in for Maki Ito. Maybe not in the ring necessarily, but everything else, feed it to my goddamn face. But in keeping with the main event from Dynamite this week, just an absolute show stealer, absolute just delivering upon hype. And wait, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I gave my roses to Samoa Joe and Corey Graves, but I got another one specifically for Britt Baker. After speaking to Thunder Rosa, who's incredible and one of the best wrestlers on the planet, hats off to Britt Baker, because I would be petrified to do that match with Thunder Rosa. Badass.
No, I hear you, man. I mean, speaking of Maki Ito, that started kind of a lot of attention that Thunder Rosa was getting. I mean, you just spilled the beans. Thunder Rosa is indeed our guest this week. But there was a clip that came out of a match that Maki Ito had with Thunder Rosa, and that was really, I've seen her in Lucha Underground, NWA, Power a little bit, but I hadn't really seen her go like kind of balls to the wall, and she gave it to Maki in this clip that I saw, because it was mostly a clip that had resurfaced to make people more familiar with kind of what Maki Ito does. But the breakout star of this situation was Thunder Rosa, and how she just kind of put that girl through the fucking ringer. She can really go, man, and she can be really aggressive and really stiff and snug and violent when she wants to be. And we got to see a lot of that passion in this interview coming up. But before we get into that, what are some of you guys' favorite matches that have kind of stolen the show over the years? I mean, there's always these really hyped up main events or, clashes that they dub dream matches or whatever that we get excited for. But what are some matches that maybe initially started under the radar and then just was like, just blew your minds? And I'm going to start with Josh.
You guys might go old. I'm going relatively recent. I remember the Hell in a Cell match with the Usos and New Day, that tag team
Yes.
match, being a fucking brutal Hell of a Cell match that was just a random match, and they end up being the best match of that Hell in a Cell, in my opinion.
Totally remember that. Totally remember thinking like, oh, I remember we were like kind of upset because it was Xavier and Kofi they had gone with instead of Big E and Kofi, because like the thought was, oh, well, Big E's strength in a Hell in a Cell, that's going to be interesting to watch, and then we didn't get it, but it turned out to be a fucking banger of a match.
Like it was
Absolute
one of those
banger.
matches like, oh, a minority will be killed in this match, because it was like that level of brutality.
I don't know if that's what I was thinking watching it, but
It was me.
I get
My bad.
your logic. I get your logic.
I do find that because they're current, we tend to not rate current things on a legendary scale. But those two tag teams are debatably top 5 and not debatably top 10 tag teams ever. Like both of them.
Agreed.
Even though they're current, it's tough to place them, but they gotta be.
I feel that way about the Migos and rap groups. What's your show stealing match there, Tyler?
I have 2 that come to mind. The first one is the first TLC at Mania 2000. Was just like, I remember that ending and being like, how can anyone go on after it? Like, what a crazy spectacle that was.
Yeah.
And then the other one that comes to mind is the Trish Stratus, Mickie James. When like it was in the middle of the Divas era, when it was a lot of just like bra and panty matches and stuff like that. And the Mickie James angle of the stalker was really well booked and well told. Like, it was a really in-depth, interesting story. And then they had like a good ass wrestling match, which was refreshing to see at the time. And I think it stood out as like one of the best matches on that card for sure.
Is that the famous edited match where at one point Mickie grabs Trisha's badge and then licks her hands afterwards?
I believe so, yeah. That's also why it's memorable.
Yeah. Definitely not on the network, guys. Just don't scroll through Peacock trying to find that fucking visual. That ain't gonna happen for you.
Mickie James is underrated.
Super underrated. Eddie, your show stealing match.
Sticking with the theme here, I'm gonna go with WrestleMania 13, Austin versus Bret Hart, man. The blood, the double turn from both of them, you know what I mean? When Bret Hart, who's pretty much like the hero, all of a sudden becomes the villain, and then you got Stone Cold just passing out, bloodied up, and all of a sudden everybody loves him. It's great.
I guess I'm going with the ultimate example of Mankind versus Undertaker at King of the Ring 1998. I mean, they weren't the main event, and people had seen them wrestle so many times up to that point. They had fucking Buried Alive matches, Boiler Room Brawls, you know what I mean, regular matches. They had feuded for so long, and there were so many examples of them in the ring that it was just kind of like, well, I mean, what are they going to do to top it? So what? There's a fucking cage. Like, you know what I mean? It is what it is. And then proceeded to give us that display of violence to where, can anybody here name another match at King of the Ring 1998? Rock versus Dan Severn, anybody?
I think Billy Gunn wins the King of the Ring, doesn't he?
Maybe.
But also what's so fascinating about that match, it's such an anomaly because, it's a top 5 like memorable wrestling match ever, but like 4 things happen. There's no wrestling match. There's just those 4 things.
Pretty much. Because you had an injured Undertaker, you know what I mean? And then a Mick Foley who's just like, he said it in interviews. He's like, what do I do to up the ante here? Like, I don't know. I got it. I'm just going to attempt to die, like, in front of all
Wait,
these
is this
people.
the one? Is this the match where Mick Foley goes through the cage?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm thinking the correct match.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's mini matches where he goes through cages, but yeah, this is the one everybody thinks of.
You know, one cage that's hard to get through?
Hmm.
Bryan cage, if he's working security. You know, you can never get past him. He always catches you.
I wish I had a rim shot button.
I'll add the rim shot to the video.
Thank you so much. But yeah, a lot of great examples, a lot of violence, a lot of thumbtacks in the case of the Mankind Undertaker. And we got treated to that shit this past Wednesday night on Dynamite. And so, look, no further ado, let's talk about it. Let's get her in here. Let's talk to Thunder Rosa and see her thoughts after stealing the show this past week.
The recognized symbol of excellence in sports entertainment.
And here we are, our very, very, very special guest with us today, Miss Thunder Rosa. What's going on? How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. No, I don't have any.
No tiene.
No, sí tengo. Sorry.
It's all good. All good. All good. Now, do people call you? Do people call you Thunder or Rosa, or when they refer to you, what's the preferred?
They call me all kinds of stuff. They call me Thunder. They call me Rosa. They call me Mel. They call me an egocentric maniac. They call me Marquita. They call me a bitch. I don't know.
What's your favorite?
I get a lot of that.
What's your favorite one?
My favorite one? I like when people call me Thunder. It's kind of cool.
I love that.
Hey,
We're
Thunder.
running with Thunder. We're rolling with Thunder.
We're
then
rolling
today.
with that. Yeah.
So, okay. First question. Are you okay? Like, what I saw yesterday on Dynamite, I mean, I just want to make sure you're good. You're good. Are you okay?
Well, besides the fact that I almost broke my knee, I almost got a concussion. I was bruised from the week before from those crutch shots in the back and the ass. Yes, I'm fine. I went to the chiropractor, and no, I didn't go to the chiropractor. I actually went and got a sweet ass an hour and a half massage that the guy like killed me. It was great. And then I do a lot of bath salts and stuff. So yes, I am fine.
Is it ever an awkward situation when you go to see like a health professional and they're like, what happened? And you're like, oh, I just fell through a ladder and onto some thumbtacks.
You know, most of my chiropractors, like one, he's my, I have two people that are sponsoring me. One, he trains with me at jiu-jitsu. So he knows I'm a fighter, and he was a fighter himself. He was in the army. He was in the army. He was in the Air Force, paratrooper. So he's insane. He has a broken neck, everything. So he knows what's up. So he helps me a lot. And then my other chiropractor, he saved my back last year. I couldn't walk after I won the NWA championship. So he takes care of me. So he knows, he's just like, you are so nuts. Like, why are you doing this? And I remember when I first got signed for Combate, I called him. I was like, so they want me to be an MMA fighter. And he's like, Melissa, you are absolutely insane. You know, I'm going to have to take care of you even more. And I'm like, is that a yes or is that a no? He's really cool. So they know what's up. And then my new masseuse, he's a local dude. He does a lot of work with a lot of the MMA fighters here in San Antonio. And he hit me up on Instagram. He's like, hey, do you want me to like do some like videos? And we like, you know, for trade for work. And I was like, oh, hell yeah, free massage, and I do a video. Hell yeah, brother. So he was texting, that's the badass match, because he loves wrestling. So that's the cool part of like about all the people that sponsor me. They either love combat sports or they love wrestling. So
I love the visual idea of someone giving you a massage and then stopping to take out thumbtacks. Like, in the middle of it. Like, oh, we just had a little something here we had to get rid of. Go ahead, Josh.
Is it like going to the beach where you always find thumbtacks like a week later? Like you keep finding sand?
find on my knee pads, believe it or not. And like I was watching the match again, and then there was a couple on my ass, and like some people, oh my gosh, thumbtacks in her ass. Like, yeah, Britt Baker has like 100,000 on her back, and you just noticed the one fucking thumbtack I have in my ass. Great, I know what you're at.
It's tough. It's tough to lose focus sometimes. Everybody in the wrestling world is talking about this match. Everybody is just gushing all over it in a lot of the ways that you guys were gushing blood from your faces. Would you say this is the most violent match that you've been a part of since starting your career?
I've done some crazy. I think this is like televised. Yes, the only time I bled in my life was on my fight in 2019 on November 2019 due to a elbow. She took me down and she elbowed me one time, cut me wide open right here. Blood just like gushed, and that was the only time I ever bled. And then yesterday was definitely close after I took that stairs. I took the stairs like that. But I've done some violent matches in the indies with this girl called Sarika, and she's like a hardcore girl. Like she has like all kinds of like marks on her back. She's done like hardcore matches in Mexico and stuff, and we did some crazy stuff. Not to the extent of taking like I took chairs and trash cans, but I never taken like ladders and tables. That's like one of the things that I never did before, but yeah, man, it was intense.
Curious, of all the like foreign objects, I think yesterday's match featured ladders and chairs and thumbtacks and all sorts of things. Which foreign object is actually the most painful? Because I saw that suplex off the top rope onto the pile of chairs. I was like, there's no way that doesn't really, really hurt.
The crutch, like damn, that
really
hurts so bad. I haven't been hurt so bad in a while. And that one, I think that hurt me the most. Because my adrenaline was going already, so I didn't feel anything. Like once your adrenaline goes, you don't feel anything. Like, I can tell you, like when I got in the cage, and I remember my coach, he told me like 2 minutes before I got in, it's like, you're not going to feel anything. You're going to feel everything 2 hours after. I felt everything afterwards. I was just like, oh, but that crutch, man. Oh,
would you say that?
Oh, you like?
Would you say that you have like a high pain tolerance, or you do? Yeah,
I do now. Yeah. Sometimes I'm still kind of scared about certain stuff, but the tolerance is higher because you get used to it. I mean, once like you start training you train to kill. That's what they train you for. You gotta get used to the pain.
Totally. Now, go ahead. No.
On that topic, I'm curious. Like when the pandemic hit and you were doing like emptier arena shows, is it more painful because there's less like people there to feed off of in terms of adrenaline?
No, man, it's the same thing. It's theater, man. You gotta like, otherwise, why am I wrestling for? Even when there's people, like sometimes, like even when there's people don't even care about your match because you don't engage them. Like the most awesome part about doing empty arena matches is that you have to do your best to engage those who pay for the pay-per-view or are watching on TV. Otherwise, you're just resting for yourself. So if you are doing that, maybe you should consider doing like a sub upper or something.
Did you feel any additional pressure on this match? This was the first time, you guys made history. This is the first televised female main event for AEW. It was a lights out match. I don't even remember, as long as I've been watching wrestling, any lights out female matches that are like considered unsanctioned. And I knew that you guys were going to take it to the extremes. And like, was that in your mind going out for this?
Yes. Oh yeah. Like I was a mess. I was a total mess. I was just, I called my husband like in tears, and I was just like doubting myself. I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. Like those times that I'm like, oh my God, why are you not here with me? I don't know what I'm going to do. But he was just like, Do you remember that time that you got in the cage and you had absolutely no experience whatsoever? And you trained for 6 months and you were wrestling and you got in the cage and you lasted this much and you didn't lose by because she didn't, knock you out or choke you. You're a badass bitch. Just remember that. You're a badass bitch. And if you think that you can take her, then you're wrong. Remember this. You are a badass bitch. Nobody can take you. And I was like, okay. Well, you know what you're doing. You know from the beginning. You were born for this. You like. Sometimes he calls me and he's all stressed out about the match, right? And that day I was like, I do not want to talk about the match. I just want you to pump me up. And then, like, literally, this is like the best pumped up speech that he's given me. And yeah, he like definitely pumped me up so hard. And the whole day I was like crying, and then I was like getting ready, and then I was crying, and I'm like, she's gonna die because I'm mad, and then I was crying again because it was so it's just like it was like legit a roller coaster of emotions that I went through because, like you were saying, not only there was so much pressure that we needed to perform, but there's a lot of things that I will not talk about until probably next year that it adds on to the level of pressure and stress that I was going through. Because, people are in high profile matches in NXT or, they're on the big roster. I can't really talk about it because I'm going to get in trouble. It has a lot to do with, let's put it this way. It has a lot to do with equality of the sexes and equality in the business in terms of like pay and the respect that we deserve. And I think I knew that if we shut the bed, people were gonna like destroy us and say, I see, that's the reason why women shouldn't be doing that. That's why they're women and that's why they do this shit and da-da-da-da-da. Like, I am so sick and tired of that. I'm so sick and tired of it. I'm so sick and tired of going to places and where there's like women shows and there only draws 20 people. That was my experience. I was just talking to this guy from Super Luchas when I went to Mexico City and Pachuca. I went to an all-women show and we only had 20 people. 20 people, right? And then on the other aspect, on the other coin, I went to a Evolution show a couple years ago, right?
Yeah.
And they were making it such a big deal. Oh yeah, like we're like the revolution of women. Woo, woo. They go and fill out. There was a lot of people. It was sold out. And then what happened? Nothing happened because it was just fashionable. People always do things because it's fashionable, because it's cool, because it's like we're like gonna make a statement. But I think yesterday, what we were able to accomplish is not just fashionable, or it was like the cool thing to do. It was the right thing to do. Because like I said on the speech after the match, when I went to AEW, I didn't go just to like put myself over. There is an army of women that have been segregated, ostracized, that we have been told no, that we don't fit the mold, that we are not the star, that we'll never be a star, that we will never amount to anything in the business because we're too old, because we have an accent, because of this, because of that. But yesterday, I shut everyone up. Every motherfucker told me, you're not going to amount to anything. You are not a star. Watch it. People are going to write it on the history books. And this is not only for me. This is for my students that are in AEW right now. Maddie, Jasmine, all the girls that are like knocking on my door and asking me for an opportunity on Mission Pro Wrestling because they know that we are making a difference. I said this a couple months ago when we opened Mission Pro Wrestling. This is only the beginning, man. You guys got to fire me. You got me fire up. I'm so serious because this is across the board, not only professional wrestling. It's on every single place that women are athletes. We are disrespected all the time. All the time.
And I mean, you said it. I mean, my whole perspective on the thing was, well, what happens next week? What happens a month from now? What happens a year from now? I didn't want this to be a one-time thing where it's like, oh, they main evented, it made a splash, and then it goes right back to the status quo. And with the attention that this match is getting, it doesn't seem like that's what's going to happen anytime soon. And I wanted to just personally applaud you and Britt for that because you're exactly right. You know, the whole women's evolution thing in the WWE was like an initiative for a little bit, and then it's kind of
Yeah, because
floundered ever since.
were badgering on WWE for so long, and then there was a segment where the Bellas were complaining about it because they got 5 minutes. I think it's a long time ago, but it was like things like that, and the fans were so annoying that they're like, okay, we're just gonna give them a little bit so they can take it, and then they can shut up. And then what happened? You know, Ronda Rousey left, the Bellas left because they were the draw.
Exactly.
You know, then that's what it pisses me off. Like, I am an independent, born and raised independent wrestler, which thankfully has been working on TV for the last 5-6 years. But I see how it is, you know, and that's why for me it is so important in a grassroots level with Mission Pro Wrestling to really ingrain into the people that are coming work for us that it's time for us to take over. And that means on every single aspect of the business, writing, coaching, creative, on production. I cannot tell you how many times like girls that are in production or women that are in production, they're being looked as a bitch. Oh my God, she's just such a bitch. No, she's just assertive and she has a deadline she needs to follow. Yeah, sometimes she comes across a little, you know, not too nice, but she needs to get things, you know, and I've seen it all over. So it's like, I am like super passionate about this, and people know me, people that work with me know me, and they know that I want the best for all of us. But it takes a village for us to demand what we deserve. Not only one person can do it. It's a group. If it's collective, things will happen faster and better. But if it's only one person, and like you said, it's just like a single match, then yeah, it was good, but it's not enough.
100%. I mean, we talk about it all the time in how a lot of these companies, it's not the representation of just wrestlers. It can't stop there, because even if you have performers who are female or of color, you know, or of, you know, different molds, still the people behind the scenes can create situations that are a little tone deaf to what the world is, especially when it comes to like race. You know, as a black wrestling fan, I've seen some bananas shit happen in angles and promos and things of that nature, and I'm sure that you have as someone of Latin descent too. You know what I mean? I just think of some of the things that they made like Eddie Guerrero do, or a lot of the luchadors do over the years, and it's just like all it would take is a couple guys in the room that weren't just, you know, regular white dudes that could figure out that this might not be the best representation of the talent that we have. And so, I mean, just again, I just kind of applaud what you're doing, and hope that, you know, it really is just the beginning of an overall shift.
No, I think it will be. Like I said, we need strong female leaders that can take this on. And again, it's not so much about putting yourself over. And I always preach the thing this is not about getting all the Thunder Rosa gets all the glory. I want my peers from, you know, NWA, from AEW to succeed and to thrive, because if all of us thrive, there's going to be a lot more spots for us on TV, on Dynamite, not on only an Elevation and Dark, on Dynamite, which is, you know, the ultimate goal, that they will be like, girls are consistent. They can totally go 15 minutes. Okay, guys, you have 50 minutes, tags, singles, you know, triple threats, like whatever. They know they can trust us that we can do that. But again, it comes down to consistency. You have to be consistent every time you're on national TV, because that's a lot of money they're putting on you, you know. And it's a business, you know. So it's just like, let's be consistent, let's be badasses, and let's show them that we deserve the spot. No matter what we go, we deserve the spot.
You are definitely a badass, and it's so apropos considering that Molly Holly was the first announced for the WWE Hall of Fame this year, and she was always considered someone who didn't kind of fit the diva mold. She was a wrestler, and she could perform, and she could go. Was Molly ever an inspiration for you, or what are some other badass women in the business that were inspirations for you?
I didn't watch wrestling, man. Straight up, I was not a wrestling fan. I thought it was the stupidest thing in the world.
So do we.
Girl, this. I thought I was done for watching soap operas in Mexico, but y'all watching this? Like, I was intellectual, growing up. I thought I was too good for that, reading my books, not watching TV. But once I discovered the theatrics and the violence involved in it, and I could like do that together, and I can still be pretty and sexy and have all the other attributes that a woman has, I was like, fuck yeah, and I can make money doing this. So yeah. I mean, I think I would say recently the women that I look up to are those who are like the rebels, like Medusa. That's one. She got so much balls to do what she did with that championship, and she got for years. But you know what? Yeah, it was hurtful, and it really like hindered her a lot. But she kept going, and she did more on other places where women were not allowed or were not part of it, like on the Monster truck, and she still does it. And then she's done so much, and she's, man, she was wild too. Like she did Muay Thai in Thailand, and like she was just crazy. She didn't care. She just wanted to be her. Nobody will tell her no. So she's one of the people that she calls me from time to time. Then Jazz, she's another one. They will say definitely she has had some heart-to-heart conversations with me, and where like they cannot take who you are, no matter if they're trying to bury you. They cannot. Know that you are a badass, and just believe that, and don't never let anybody tell you otherwise. Because she's struggled just as much as I have in the business for being a woman of color, and the time that she wrestled, because she was a wrestler. She wasn't your typical diva. And she sometimes tells me that she wishes she would have been brought up in this time, in where we are demanding and asking and performing to deserve the respect that we are earning. So
the sheer amount of like the increase in the population in badass female wrestlers today is only something that compounds over time, and there's more mentors as you move along, and more trainers and more people involved in the industry. And as your generation sort of progresses past in ring, there's going to be this whole generation of educators out there that unfortunately didn't exist as much prior. Like you mentioned before, when someone like stands up for what they believe in or something, they get like labeled something, or they get a negative reputation. But like wrestling trainers are supposed to be hard asses, and that's how wrestling training's supposed to go. And you never hear people talk bad about Billy Gunn or Fit Finlay. Like that's what the industry needs, is more women involved in teaching the younger women how to do this, right?
And I can tell you, like training with Jazz and being a trainer myself, we always talk about that. I always talk about respect. I don't take shit from none of my students. I tell them every single thing, every penny I have in my piggy bank is because I earn it. Doing pictures, merchandise, sending cameos, sending shout outs, wrestling, whatever. I earn it. And I earn it because I earn the respect in that ring. So you don't come and tell me that you're tired, that your leg hurts, that you had a bad day at school, that you broke up with your girlfriend. Guess what? Coach Rodney, he went through something really bad, and he's here teaching class. My mom was in the hospital last week, and I went and I had to go and work and put a match together. I left my son, who's like struggling with school, and I haven't been able to see him for a week. How do you think I feel? And where do we go? I get in the ring. Oh my God. Like, no, I'm going to perform, because that's what you are. You're here to perform. The same with every sport. And my coach tells me that all the time, my MMA coach, when I'm like being a soft, he just, Take whatever shit you have going on, leave it at the door. You're here to punch somebody in the face. Wipe your tears and be a badass, because that's who you are. And that's why I tell all my students. When they come with their issues or whatever, I tell them, when you come here, you come to show up and show off. You just don't care. You're not here to show up. If that's the case, you can go to Zumba class. You can go to a dance class, and where you can just like go to the motions here. You're here, you're going to get hurt, or you're going to hurt somebody. I have some respect for this business.
I absolutely love that philosophy. I mean, one shining characteristic I've always said about you is just pure confidence. Confidence in who you are and your abilities and what you can do, but also how you fully embrace, I feel like, all aspects of yourself. You talked about it earlier about being able to be a badass, but also still being, sexy and feminine and all that good stuff. And back in the day, women wrestlers were supposed to like kind of fit this like bikini model image, and then there were the others that were supposed to be more like, I guess, more masculine and athletic and whatnot. But you like molded the two in, I think, like the most perfect way I think I've ever seen of any female wrestler before or after you. I mean, we'll see after, but definitely before you. Like, I know that your Instagram shows you in all different aspects, and I wonder, do you ever get any like flack for that? Do ever people feel like, oh, you're dragging us by trying to look sexy or things like that?
I have been criticized for it, but at the end of the day, this is what I want for all the women in general, is to be accepted for who you are and for what you do, no matter what it is. If you like burlesque and that's your passion, and it's besides wrestling, and you want to show it to the world, why not? You are not exploiting anybody. You're not doing anything to hurt anybody, right? If you like to do custom matches, which, I, tell the girls, you can do whatever you want. Custom matches are fine as long as you're not, going against your morals and your ethics. That's totally fine. It's your body, is your choice. For me, I like to show off the hard work that I put on my body. My body is my money maker. And I'm not talking about like, yes, I do videos on OnlyFans, which, if it worse, why I'll just do some sexy videos without, getting too frisky. But
Tyler has a lot of sexy videos on OnlyFans.
Oh my God, oh my God, you should see my DMs, man. Sometimes I'm like, fans got OnlyFans. No, I do not got OnlyFans.
I post a lot of sexy videos on my OnlyFans, just no one pays for them. So it's very sad.
I'm his only subscriber. It's really sad.
But it's 2021 it has been a time for women to be empowered. And we need to be empowered by accepting every single aspect of our life, our sexuality, our masculinity, our tomboyness. I was a tomboy my whole entire life. Entire. And I was told that I was ugly, that I was too skinny, that I had a flat nose, all kinds of shit. Like I had the worst self-esteem in the world until like I was 25. My husband, back then, he was my friend. Even he used to tell me, like, you're one of the prettiest girls and you date the ugliest motherfuckers in the world. Like, what is going on? You gotta believe yourself. You gotta believe you do deserve something better. And that in like professional wrestling, like really helped me develop that confidence that I don't think I ever had previously. And like now when I put the makeup on and I put the gear on, I'm like, damn, like I am an athlete and I am pretty and I am confident. Even yesterday I was with La Rosa Negra, right? And we're walking to a restaurant and I'm telling her, I'm one of the most fucking confident women walking on this earth right now. I feel so good today. And she was just like, yo. And I'm like walking like Vince, I said it in Spanish, but it was like that kind of stuff, man. Even if I'm wearing like men trousers today and hardly any makeup, I know who I am now and I accept myself for who I am. And no matter, even when men on Instagram, I love it when they tell me that I look like a transsexual, that I look like a man. And I'll be like, well, guess what? Probably I have a bigger penis than you do.
Yes. Yes.
Like, you can tell me, you can try to like destroy me. It's okay. I know who I am. I'm confident. I love myself, and I exude that to the world. So.
And I think I'm thinking about the right thing. Don't you have like a something that you do regularly if fans in attendance get a little bit too familiar with you?
Oh, well, sometimes I put them on blast on my DMs or my stories. I'm waiting because they've been asking me to do Patreon, and OnlyFans just contact me, and I know OnlyFans is working now, not only to do adult stuff. They have chefs doing stuff. They have different artists like getting into that platform. But one thing, especially highlighting those who have the balls to go all in on my DMs and asking me for the freakiest things ever, because I'd love for you to hear it and listen to it. I have one. He texts me every day.
It's me.
With his expectations as his hot Mexican wife. It's incredible. Like,
I want to apologize for that. It's me all along.
Really text me every day. And then I have another one who apparently is a penis model. And
good work if you can get it.
Yeah. Text me pictures, right? And I'm just like, yeah, man, it's incredible. Like, some of that being said on my social media, I'm like, wow. I mean, most of respect, man. You guys got balls. Like, I don't judge anybody, but I guess when somebody don't respond to you, I think it's time for you to stop texting.
Yeah.
I have a question, shifting away from penises for a minute. You were talking about confidence as a performer. Do you ever feel like an actual mental shift when you put the paint on?
Can you repeat that question? Es because La Rosa Negra. Rosa, come over here and say hi. So she's my champion, La Rosa Negra de Puerto.
Hey.
Hi.
Wow, that view. Woo.
De café negro y
no, pues échale tantito. Sí. She's my assistant now. She's bringing me coffee. See, when you treat your.
Do you ever feel a mental shift when it comes to like confidence as a performer? Is there something to putting the paint on that like changes something mentally?
Yes, it does, because the paint is not only a gimmick. The paint, it comes with, it's like a tribal kind of, right? When you're getting preparing for war.
For war.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And this is not only that, but it's, if you guys know about what Day of the Dead means to our culture, to my culture, Mexican culture, it's a remembrance of those who passed away, and they're in a better place. Every time I paint my face, it's the representation of all of those who were before me, who believed in me and believed in my dream, but they're no longer with me in this earth. These are kids that I worked with before that committed suicide or were killed by police or drugs. My aunts, my grandparents, many people that meant a lot for me. So every time I get in there, it's I don't come alone. I come with an army of souls that are somewhere in the inframundo, in the infra world, fighting with me.
And the aliens.
You've talked so much about, what you've been able to accomplish and what you've been able to overcome so much through this business. What are the goals that you have left? Like, what are the dreams that you have yet to achieve in this business that you look forward to?
Well, I would love to do like something in terms of, like I said, equality in the business, to have more women take more positions of power. Hopefully that's something that we can do in the next couple of years. For me, becoming a coach somewhere, I think coaching the right way and teaching the right values to the new generations is so important for women to continue to empower other women. When you have strong female leaders that are selfless, that are there not only for them, but for others, it really makes a difference in your career. I wish I would have had a mentor coming up that was a female, that, you know, went above and beyond. But when I see a 17-year-old girl that is struggling, that has been sexually harassed, that has suffered from, you know, physical and sexual abuse, that is in the business, and I see it, I can see it, or like she's been domestically abused, all kinds of stuff, going out of my way to help them go and get help, and also to become successful in this very, very difficult business. It's a duty for me. And even when I'm with, I've been working with some really young talent, and I remind them, I'm like, once you become famous, I hope that you remember me. But the most important part is this: once you become famous, remember this: you have to help somebody else to get where they need to get, to pay off this positive cycle. Kimura-san did that for me when I was in Japan and I almost died of a concussion. She sent Hana Kimura, who passed away because of suicide. Now, never forget that. Never forget that. And every time I'm in Japan, she goes out of her way to take me out to dinner, to make sure that I'm okay, and to make sure that, you know, somebody's taking care of me. When I come here to the United States, or when I'm in Japan and there's a foreign girl and she has no friends, she has nobody, I'm go out of my way to help them around so they don't feel alone. Sometimes in this business, you feel alone a lot of the time, especially when you're on top. You feel like you have no friends, that you can trust anybody. And that's so important when you have that little person that it's a light in your day, and they make you feel like you belong, that you make you feel like that whatever you're doing, it's gonna pay off. It's so important. And if we don't change our mentality and we're just catty all the time and we're just trying to stab each other in the back, we're not gonna get any better. We're gonna continue having men always on top, men always telling us what to do, and men always dictating what women are gonna do in the business.
And there's something so valuable to someone in your position who, you know, has done it and been there, telling someone that they can too. Like, no, this is doable. There's such infinite value in that.
Oh, it is. You always have to have somebody, one person that believes in you. One fucking person. Just, you need one. And there's been one or two in different stages of my career. The first one was Chris DeJoseph and Lucha Underground. He saw me and I was green as hell. He saw me, pulled me aside, and you have the it factor. You need to come to Lucha Underground. Yeah, I should have read the contract, right, before I signed. I didn't, but whatever. Then the second person, I know he is not liked because of the speak out. The second person was David Lagana. He's the one who gave me an opportunity in NWA. While everybody was telling me no, and when everybody was shutting the doors on my face, he was the one who was like, you have talent, you got to bring it to NWA. You know? So those are the people that help me. Yeah, they might not be considered as like somebody good in the business, but I don't know what I would have been if one of those people wouldn't give me an opportunity to be in major TV shows. And then now in AEW, Tony Khan has a lot of trust in me to perform. And he's been in the team, the AEW team, I'd be nothing but supportive. Dustin Rhodes, it's been a rock when I'm there and I'm feeling down, or I'm feeling like I can't perform, or that I'm too nervous. He always pulls me aside.
Has Dustin give you face painting tips?
Yes. That's another one. Jerry Lynn is magnificent. Oh my God, I love Jerry Lynn. Yeah, he's a sweetheart, man. He's a sweetheart. So it's been a progression of people that they see what I have, they see that I have what it takes, and they make me believe that I can achieve anything I want in this business. So I'm really thankful for the opportunities.
And we're thankful for you taking some time out of your day to talk to us. I know probably everybody's hitting you up after the match from last night. And I mean,
Oh, you know what? I don't think they did as much. It was just like, I think I got probably like 60 text messages yesterday. And my phone is still like blowing up right now on my DMs on Instagram.
yeah.
And then Twitter, it's been, man, I've been talking to some people that I will never thought they will like be watching my stuff. And I was like, he's a super big time wrestling fan. And I've been talking to some of his idols. Like every time I tell him that I talk to Arn Anderson, he's like, oh, he's my favorite of all times. And then I'm like, Malenko likes me. He's like, I hate you. And I was just like, like things like that. So insane, man. It's so insane.
Well, we look forward to everything you got coming up for AEW, Independence, everywhere else. We'll be watching. We totally believe in you. We love what you're doing to make sure that more women are on top in the future. And we hope to talk to you again soon. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
You're very welcome. And don't forget, guys, we have a badass show today. You guys can watch it. It's on titlematchnetwork.com. It's the Mission Pro Wrestling Show. And I will be actually wrestling with my bestie and my wifey, Holly Dad. The Twisted Sisters are back. I would love for you guys to see us because we don't get to wrestle together anymore. And we have so much good talent and so many new people coming in. They all deserve to be seen and to be praised.
Absolutely. We'll blast that out as well. Thank you so much, Thunder Rosa. We'll talk to you soon.
Adios, amigos.
Fucking A. I thought she was awesome before we got to talk to her. I think that she is even more of a badass now. Oh, what a great interview with Thunder Rosa. Guys, reactions, thoughts.
She's
It
amazing.
was so good. I found thumbtacks in my own pants right now.
She didn't even get weirded out the fact that you've been in her DMs and shit. She's
You know,
fucking great.
I want to apologize. Please don't cancel me.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to cancel as of now, but I don't want to get canceled.
Well, when you get a dick pic and you can't tell that it's even a penis, is it like, is it really even harassment at that point? Anyway, so I don't know what to say past that. I've definitely gotten some pics and didn't know it was a vagina at first, so it works both ways. Anyway, so it's been a fucking already amazing episode, but we'd be remiss if we didn't go ahead and make our picks for WWE Fastlane 2021.
By the way, we've never mentioned on the episode, but Annie and I are co-champions right now. And I just want to put that out there so that everyone knows that as we head into Fastlane.
I'm going to challenge this, okay?
Uh-oh.
Chris posted a picture of our picks from our last pay-per-view and did not put the championship belt over my face. So I have to assume this belt was not up to be won. It was a non-title pick match. So I am still your champ.
There are no non-title matches here. In an initial version, I put it on your picture. And then when I did the revised version, I forgot, and I just didn't care. I just did not care. So,
Josh is the
fuck
Miz
that.
podcast.
For real. Absolutely. But yes, indeed, going into this, Tyler and Annie are indeed co-champions, continuing Tyler's streak of not being able to be a sole champion. But, if the sole champion right now is our guy Ryan H on our Patreon, he is just like running away with these picks. But me and Josh are within striking distance, so maybe we can make something happen with this pay-per-view, even though there's only 5 fucking matches. But if you want to compete and play along with us, patreon.com/WrestleFetish. That's how you get in the Fetish Fantasy League. I think we'll close the season at WrestleMania, and then we'll give away the first prize, and then we'll start again after that. Sound good to everybody? I think that makes a lot of sense. And we'll do it that way. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into Fastlane, the pay-per-view that doesn't matter at all. But first up, we've got Alexa Bliss versus Randy Orton in a match that I don't even think is going to happen. But Tyler, Annie, with your thoughts. Just talk at the same time. Go ahead.
I don't know, dude. Like, it's either not gonna happen, or is this supposed to be a fucking tease that the Fiend's coming back? Like, I'm confused. I don't know. What do you guys think?
It's gotta be the Fiend makes a return and it sets up a Randy Orton Fiend match at Mania, right?
That's what I feel like. Yeah.
I mean, look, the closest thing we've gotten to an intergender match in recent time was Sasha Banks versus Reginald. And that was that motherfucker doing cartwheels all over the ring until she punched him and put him in the bank statement.
Yeah. I
just can't see WWE having a full ass match between Alexa Bliss and Randy Orton.
He would, like, she's so tiny. He could just fling her across the ring.
But she throws fireballs.
Exactly. Within 60 seconds, he's going to be barfing up ink, and it's going to happen. They're not getting into a collar and elbow, I don't think.
I mean, look, if I get swerved and this shit happens, then fucking A. Good for you, WWE, because this is the logical conclusion to this feud. I don't care about Bray Wyatt anymore. The blow off should be between Randy Orton and Alexa Bliss. I mean, there's been nothing but violence between the two of them and tension. The only other way it could end is if they just meet in the middle of the ring and just start fucking just hard.
Did we talk about that last week?
This is completely opposite of what Thunder Rosa said wrestling needs. Okay?
I mean,
she's like, we need women power, and then you want just a woman to get fucked in the middle of the ring?
No one said anything about Randy fucking her. No one said anything about that, okay? She could bend the fucking Viper over and just fucking peg the shit out of that ass.
Hey, women empowerment, baby. Let's go. She probably has a big one, too, because she's so tiny.
Yeah.
Everyone could fuck everyone.
You know?
Women on top. See, you're the sexist one, assuming.
I'm sorry. I didn't think about shooting fireballs in Randy Orton's ass. My bad.
Right. Yeah. She's fucking spitting in his mouth. He's inking into hers. It gets really kinky really fast.
You don't kink shame around here, remember?
That's right.
Hey.
Fireballs is what happens after I eat Indian food.
This is the real King Shamrock match.
So does anyone think this match is happening? And
no.
Make a pick?
I'm going to pick Alexa to win in some sort of weird non-match win.
I don't know how to quantify that, so I'm going to just have to put you as Alexa wins.
Can we just all agree to that so this one pick isn't costing us a title?
Because I feel like that would be the case, even if whether or not it means that it's going to be a return of the Fiend or not. I feel like that's what would happen regardless, or something. I don't know.
Okay. Let's make picks, but we can agree that if there's no finish, it doesn't count.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Fair. That's fair.
Okay,
I'm
that's
into
fine.
that. Yeah, that's fair.
I'm going to go fucking bananas and pick Randy Orton to win this fucking thing.
God damn it, Chris. I was hoping I was going to be the only one to pick Orton. I'm definitely picking Orton.
They could do the lights out thing, and then he supposedly punts her, and then lights come back on, and then, she's dead. He pins her, and he's like, I did it. And then the Fiend attacks him from the grave.
Prediction: 2 Randy Ortons.
I was just going to say that. I was literally just about to say that. I was like, what if another Randy Orton comes out?
Shit. Oh, shit, son.
We've been talking about it.
You start fucking.
That's my favorite moment in wrestling history, like the Hebner angle with Hulk Hogan, when he's backstage like sweating profusely and he's like, "Who paid for the plastic surgery?" And he forgot that twins exist.
Right, 100%. Oh my god. Lord have mercy. Next for the Intercontinental Championship, excuse me. Big E is defending against Apollo Crews in more African on African violence. I actually like this angle so far. I think that Crews looks good. I still think the accent is a bit much. The promo that Big E cut on SmackDown was fucking passionate and fucking detracted from all those people who've criticized him, saying he needs to be more serious. It's like he's a fully well-rounded character who can do both, and I think he proved it on SmackDown. So I'm actually somewhat interested in this. I don't see. You know what? I'm gonna let you guys take picks first before I get too opinionated about this.
Well, speaking of Apollo Crews, I recently watched Coming to America 2.
Hey, same.
And I didn't much care for it, so I'm going to go with Big E.
Annie?
I'm going to go with Biggie as well. Not because Tyler picked it, but because that's what I was going to say also.
I'm going... Ooh.
But Annie, what'd you think of the movie?
I mean, it's essentially the same thing as the first one, right? You know, his son goes through the same shit he went through and yada, yada, yada. There's just a lot of throwbacks and stuff. It was funny. It was entertaining, but, you know.
It was a love fest. It was a love fest to the original.
There's nothing I hate more than a remake of a popular movie that is all pop culture references that will be outdated in 6 months. Zoolander did it. This movie did it. I'm sure there's 30 more if I look it up. I hate that when it's like, we're going to redo the same movie, but update it, make it trendy, and it doesn't work.
Which is what they're doing with a lot of movies. They keep making sequel or remaking. Well, I mean, that was more of a sequel, but yeah, like it's kind of like the same idea though. All these movies that are like.
The only thing I really disliked about Coming to America before we get back into wrestling, Coming to America 2, was that everyone had hair except Eddie Murphy. He was the only one that was like, don't fuck with this. Like, Jermaine Fowler's hair got different. Arsenio was wearing peace. Everyone was wearing the hairpiece. No, fresh lineup for Eddie Murphy. Didn't even try to look like fucking Akeem again.
They're making a great movie called American Cheese Danish. It's exactly like American Pie, but it's just a guy fucking a cheese Danish.
I mean, you got to get the filling in there.
And also, the movie is just called Coming to America. Okay, it's not Coming to America 2.
Oh, smart.
We get the idea.
Very smart.
So who's walking away with the IC belt?
Not Nigeria. That's for sure. It's
Big
E.
Because you went with Big E, right?
Yes.
Okay. Annie?
Big E is retaining.
The correct booking would be for Apollo to win by shenanigans, but not win the belt, and then they go to WrestleMania.
Right.
But the way WWE tends to book these things is that Apollo will lose, and they'll still fight at WrestleMania.
Exactly.
But would they waste this much booking energy on Apollo to give him a loss immediately?
Yes.
No, they would. I know they would, but
it's WWE, man. Come on. Let's think logically here, or by WWE logic, anyways.
But I fight myself every time on these where I'm just like, yeah, but that doesn't make any sense. It's the wrong thing to do. And I know that I shoot myself in the foot every time, but I'm going with Cruz. It has to be Cruz. And Annie, how could you go against someone else's named Cruz?
I know. I was waiting for someone to say that. Anyways.
Chris clearly doesn't know how to spell your last name, Annie.
I don't know how to spell in general.
Isn't Sheamus's last name Lemko? No.
Josh, what you got?
Oh, I said Big E.
Oh, okay.
There's no way Cruz wins this match. Actually,
Right.
there's a good chance he wins this match and not the title.
That's what I'm thinking. In a match that, based on the booking, has become very difficult for me to pick, Drew McIntyre takes on Sheamus in a blood feud grudge match.
I don't get the logic of having Drew McIntyre beat Sheamus 2 weeks in a row on Raw, and then you announce that this is the match for the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Well, they opened Raw with just like, oh, by the way, the main event for WrestleMania is McIntyre versus Lashley. I know we didn't do anything to set that up, but here it is. And then it's like, oh, but by the way, Sheamus is involved too. So I don't know what the hell. I don't know. Who you got?
I mean, I think Drew has to win the pre-Mania match,
Yeah.
right? You would think. Annie?
I'm going with Drew.
Here's what's retarding the situation for me. Mania is 2 nights now. So is
Right.
there a fucking world where it's like they fight again night 1 and then the winner gets Lashley night 2 or some shit like that?
No.
No one wants to pay Sheamus twice for
Yeah.
WrestleMania.
Yeah. I don't think they're
No.
gonna do that. I don't
Why
think
are
they're
they
gonna do that.
why are they booking him so strong? But I'm still going with McIntyre, I guess.
Yeah, I'm sticking to that.
Yeah, I think Sheamus will win the Andre Trophy or something like that.
You know,
Josh?
for the first time ever, WWE didn't do 50-50 booking. They gave McIntyre both wins, and they'll give him the third win. And in this, which I'm excited. Even though I feel like we all think McIntyre is going to win, I think this might be their best match, because I really think they can really step up even more than what they already have.
Yeah.
Especially
Sheamus in ring has been better than he's been in fucking years recently to me. So I don't see why they wouldn't be able to deliver. We have Nia Jax and Shayna Basler defending the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships against Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair in a feud that has, for some reason, only highlighted Reginald. I'm going to talk about this in the Patreon episode, but I don't know what pictures of Vince McMahon that Reginald has, or what leverage that he's got over any of the rest of the McMahon clan. But the fact that they are so enthralled with this fucking guy is baffling. It's utterly baffling. I don't understand, but whatever. Who you got?
I definitely feel like him and Adam Pearce have the exact same pictures.
Yeah. We'll get into it on Patreon. Who do you guys got in the match?
Logically, putting the titles on Belair and Sasha adds to their Mania match, which currently doesn't really have much reasoning other than Bianca won the Rumble. However, then what does Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler do if they're not tag champions and they just have a small boyfriend? I'm going to go Bianca and Sasha.
I like the progressive angle of Reginald as both of their boyfriends, but he only penetrates Nia and Shayna penetrates him.
Yeah.
And like that's how that sort of three-way relationship goes.
And this dynamic of like sugar mama Nia Jax, I am very into.
Sugar Mama night.
She took him shopping Pretty Woman style on SmackDown.
Like,
oh my God.
I would love to try on suits for Nia Jax.
Oh, Andy, who you got?
I mean, I kind of agree with Tyler with like the whole Sasha Belair thing, if they did win and, you know, how that would affect them going to WrestleMania. But I guess I'm going to go with Nia and Shayna retaining.
Josh?
Yeah, we already have a WrestleMania match between Sasha and Belair. They're not gonna have another match defending the tag team belts as well. It's gonna be Sasha. It's gonna be Jackson Basler.
But that's my reasoning. Is I feel like it's an excuse for WWE not to have to book a match on a card with too many matches.
They have 2 nights. They have to get matches.
Yeah.
I'm going with Nia and Shayna to retain as well. Reginald's asshole is going to be really busy later that night.
His hole?
His hole!
His hole!
Roman Reigns defends the championship, the Universal Championship, in the main event against Daniel Bryan.
Main event, you skipped one.
Did I?
You skipped the Slimer himself, Shane O'Mac.
Oh,
no, the match got pulled.
Oh,
that
did
got
it?
pulled. Yeah.
did it really? Oh God. Okay.
My mistake then.
Thank you for pulling this match.
And we'll see who will be the special enforcer for this match, Edge or Jey Uso, as they'll have a match next week on SmackDown. Well, tomorrow on SmackDown for us, to see who's going to be the special enforcer. That could determine better the outcome of the match, but we're making picks now. So what do you got, Tyler?
I can't see them shaking up this much right before Mania. I'm going to stick with Roman.
Annie?
Roman as well.
Josh?
This is my hardest pick out of the match, I feel like. Because I could easily see them have some shenanigans. Daniel Bryan was a title, and you set up a triple threat: Edge, Roman, Daniel Bryan, WrestleMania.
I said that last week.
It's so easy. I can see them doing it.
Yeah, because I could see them wanting Daniel Bryan to face Edge at Mania in some capacity.
Okay. If we just take a look at history, okay? Many a time have they done a presentation of Daniel Bryan in a situation where we as fans were like, oh, they wouldn't build him up like this to have him lose. Surely not. He won't get thrown unceremoniously from the Royal Rumble. He just came back as a huge babyface. Surely he's going to feud with The Miz upon his return from injury after seeding a feud with The Miz years prior. Surely they're not going to waste Daniel Bryan in a
What are you trying to
tag
get to,
match
Chris?
with Shane McMahon. And surely at Fastlane, they're not going to make sure that he keeps reminding us that this might be his last WrestleMania. And so he needs to be in the main event, only for us to have him lose clean to Roman Reigns.
Look, it's going to be a great Andre the Giant Battle Royale.
So, with that being said, who you got, Josh?
You know, I really want Daniel Bryan to win.
Right.
But if you look at history,
I agree.
If you look at the picks in the past I've made, I've always lost because I picked against Roman Reigns. Always. I always pick against him, and I always lose. And I refuse. This is 2021. Okay. We have a female VP. I will not make the same mistakes. I've grown through this pandemic. I've matured. I've gotten stronger. I still sound the exact same. That has not changed at all. Roman Reigns for the win.
I've already gone bananas picking Randy Orton.
So if you fucked up, what's wrong with going bananas a second time?
And I've also picked Apollo Crews. Smart thing would say to just go with Roman like everybody else and not try to be smarter than you are. But
in the words of Seth Rollins, you just need to burn it down, Chris. Just burn it all down and pick Daniel Bryan.
here's what fucks with me. Because I've been thinking a lot about WrestleMania 10, where Bret Hart has this preliminary match, and then he faces the winner of Luger and Yokozuna. It's like, do they give us a three-way? Or then again, do one of the two nights, it's like Bryan is the champion, and like he faces Edge, and then the winner of that faces Roman at night 2.
You know, you mentioned Bret Hart, but you know who else had to have an earlier Mania match just to win the main event? It was
Daniel Bryan. Daniel fucking Bryan. So I'm like, I'm gonna hate myself because I've also fallen victim to the betting against Roman Reigns phenomenon. But it's one of those things, you know, I was just in Vegas, and sometimes you have to just keep betting boxcars until it fucking hits. Sometimes you gotta just double the fuck down, pick your balls up, and put them right on the goddamn webcam screen. So here it is, goddammit. Here are my balls. I'm kidding. I'm picking Daniel Bryan. Let's go. Could you imagine if I just pulled my balls out right now? Like, what in the fuck?
I think Daniel Bryan and Jey Uso are going to have a great Mania match.
The good news is the way the picks have been. I don't think there's any possible way to have a tie.
Yeah.
So I think we get a definite winner to go into WrestleMania picks.
And my whole thing hinges on the women's tag match that I feel very uneasy about.
I love it. Well, there you have it. We've had a fucking amazing episode. Thank you, Thunder Rosa, for gracing us with your majestic presence. We look forward to what you have coming up. We look forward to WWE Fastlane, believe it or not. And we look forward to so much more in the world of wrestling. I mean, Mania season is the best time of the year. Right? Same, just like when football, basketball is all happening at the same time. Just like that. So, you guys got anything to plug before we bid them adieu?
At any fucking cruise on Twitter, at any cruise on the gram, actwitch.com for my Twitch channel. That's it.
Tyler?
At T Lemko, if you really want to find me, good luck.
Josh?
At Josh Martin Comic on all the things. I'll be in Vegas beginning of April 7th, I think, performing stand-up comedy. So I'm excited.
I love it. You can find me at Chris_please. You can find us at WrestleFetish, except on Twitter, where it's at WrestleFpod. Don't fall into the Vince Russo trap, unless you want to see some, sexy wrestling.
Which you do.
Absolutely. We all do. And we all want to tell you that in the meantime, till we see you again, stay fucking horny. For wrestling.